Ase sa Yahua etiasie wani a etwen nanim na wani edi enkunim abre nyina enkunimdie ewo awurade ho enkunimdie eye awurade enhyira a wode mayen obi empaye a wobo awurade edi humuaye no ema nipa no a eye enkunimdie na otimi edema daba mi ADAKABRI mudu osioma befri neat 100.9 FM so and set me back mwana sui na awiai bene ohima eye na akua free ye na asi enkonya ema yede me man tidwumadie ede ebremo me man tidwumadie ahyehye ne nyina no pagye no kwadwo damiado ene sine na so eye mageri osai agman everybody chidom na akua na ehima ene ono so asabese mrante kwa no emienu technical production no abna frema abankro wani nana ya asafo wani ena etoto edi eye bibia say interaction on various social media handles nyina no wonsa ebetimi aka eye me man tidwumadie na ene Friday, November 8, 2024. And the time just about gone, 32 minutes past 1. Now, young pastor, that's also Emfama engineering team, no, Achu Agbo, Walker, in Kotia Kwana Najari, Nana Buaje, at the Sankroma. Then you know, your son Rani say, Sempro. Omachile suna aya facilities team, no, on an Ashese ambiance, what studio, Hanino, Bibia Kama, Ahanma Sham. Ama sabi untin kabwani bia ewa ha ni nyina mu aseda e de kwa facilities team no big solo and a dada and a Godfred dodo no friend you brana mapuna and a DJ Bosco yaw and a Sami na meals nso ya sanmra ne san tetai na wa mu se bibia ebeko ye e de amen na ima memu atrase
ofa fashion mejo so
you waye na ho te san
Nyankopon adom me ho ye mpacho na we
yebe so musa na de ahimafo de yeye
oh ayasemo
ahimafo na de yeye
ofa sembe nesi
asembe nesi na akua in fact videos no sexually explicit so no sexually explicit and sensitive but I would have thought bia yebetimi aye de benia atimi
abona eti
yeti audio no behind it than say sexually explicit video no your friend saying it demeans it's just a womanhood and it degrades manhood in as much as brotherhood are not happy, sisterhood is also no to actually parade a naked woman a naked woman in principal streets of a major town. It is oh your bar. Now you parade naked, not even a bra, not even an underwear, a panty, naked.
Completely naked.
Completely naked. Confidence. Psychologically, how would you feel?
I found him say, seminar mo. Na sebi mishia obi a sebi na I don't want to use the word eba manono sebi obi a na dwen
bi owa adwumu yare bi
bi owa adwumu yare po na wayi ne ho a oba mobo ohun so ohun na oye mu hihyew na ora ho na wani kra san ade ewu ohun na sebi obi a oni adwumu yare obi maame in
this instance Bearman yedi kan epa no a Bearman de na
osheni boxers osheni but oba ne de on hwe na won say Bearman on shirt de a osheni ka de enye news what you say enye news Obama on shirt bi say me jam me guru hu say wetumi ayidwa shirt bibia nsi obi ampa me guru want to say be me challenge you say wait me dwa I mean in terms of a mema ti me dwa ne shirt no dwa ne baby what will happen obi enfa ho kro obi atwam kro nhwe ho na nso say oba o de oba nyi ne shirt ne top na nka ne bra obo bra kra no people will not take it lightly or normal nti say wo be yi oba ho a on hwehwe ma me na ni afi na owo mma e wa abusunya na we yi ne ho. Oh no, it is unacceptable.
Unacceptable
at all. Yeah, and I think something.
Na said we can say visuals near sexually explicit and quite insensitive to womanhood and manhood. At least no young said the audio no. Now what baby asun kataneni.
I
said, don't watch.
Don't watch. Now I watch your bed there, play.
Baby, would have made me play on your machines in the mommy. As some of the honey say, ye be course so. ewo eye kwawu abetifi such a peaceful town kwawu abetifi atitru free honom just say saka so no kwawu abetifi opudo ya frimpong kwawu abetifi so no Dr. Green Team Grams abetifi so no titru your friend say animado abetifi animado ni sika na ye de to bank me ye de bi a Bank of Ghana the Ghana ni owu sika ono ne deposit a waye no the savings on yetime de ka ho de bi Bank of Ghana animado so no eti kwa abetifi nye krukitwa kwa abetifi so na ye Ramsey ye Presby Ramsey na kwa abetifi na no wo na okoko ye school ewo begro inti Ramsey ewo ye abetifi no na nipa bi ewo asante achimbo mpata so no na ombebe sre Ramsey right na Ramsey ebebe ye school ewo asante achimbo mpata inti say school eba ye Presby before ebe si Presby asore na wo bompata ansa na ofri bompata no ede Presby no Kumasi adum so enti abetifi eye kura eso na wahini a wa abetifi no achemfo atra konwa no semse de be mfie aduasa kura achi
30 years plus
wono na ye kwawu adonten it is kwawu manhini eni hwa eye abetifi ene hwe achiri
okay
right
yeah
na kwawfo ye peaceful people to say me papa eye daduam ayem prayer so lawyer kwafo ye peaceful people kwafo nye kikiri omunye kikiri kura enti aye voice ya ye betie aye time a ye pa kwawu adonten abetifi ahene aye achemfo one de nyame adom no hye nika yenti ye de course time ya costo na ye de na tena form sei brim and not from a dear course. Or him no yentie dear course. I'm into you. I've been our video anyway. I've been into you. I've been a video anyway.
We are secretary floor. We are secretary floor.
Enti eye kwawu abetifi hene achemfo na wetina konwa no so mfinhye aduasa ene yede na tena fom se ebrim na mema se nan aketiketi atwa no ho ahia na ebitimi pa na som fa na chi na oba a wahye akode ntare edi hima ede tinanim na bema bi atutu ne ntoma na nanim aye mobomobo na obai na interrogate eye abetifi hene no na obai yansantie biem yintie
We are secretary floor.
Ahine ni apa na ni so awie ka kire ne say ye oba panyini kasa na so kasa ye di si na sum efri na chia kawanutum na onya ye score me na yaka de ya kire wo hene na we course wo no ohine bia wote kromu a hwese de wusi ni mrante te kromu wo ubesi ni o matena enti we course wo no afi na ka drum pompon so a ye be wuro eye wo hene nika no afi hwede si ye akrom ho mrante no na wo mo ebaaye na wo mo baaye no ya ba kire mema ni bi wo mo yes ano na tie voice ni keke say them kind no say quite sensitive in the pictures no we are unable to show the pictures tie ya kire wo mo no de course wo Tia betifi mrantie ena atimi a rescue ohene no ena mema no a na ye di ohene ni no ya so bi mu a de ekoso no voice na wutie no na quite sensitive ema so a ne besu obanjo yentie na se ohene woti krom na woni mrantie no etena yi a oye ne bi ba so a mrantie no etimi immobilize yensantie tama abetifi mrantie immobilize ye na eno na police kum military etimi ekoji mrantie no se yede wo mo aban kukum enti employer so na ye division marion say me chiawo na enkoko metro na enkoko na ba no se ya na detach free bepo no so na de ma bankoko iti time soja fo ni police fo ba ye no say na esi koso time na o mo twen anya a glimpse of sankrofo no a omsi o madi bone no yentie no unse soja fo ni gina ho yi na approsive ho yi na police pick up na de ma approsive ho ya na bi kasa ho no police pick up so na aba no yentie At the time police kum military national security for namase omuti be cordon off na omudi police panda vehicle no monkey no fight Toyota no etimi extricating crofo no every location no na hu yo no the most astonishing bit no a time one oba no a na ote ho edi hima no a ye de benia yetimi edwojo wo hene no saa wo bai and afede ye de na si abetifi montene so until the police and the military were able to rescue her. And this is the most despicable photo that I've seen. Her body naked on Shashi and ye de na abetifi montene so.
Oh, champion! No.
Sawoti nyano no. Oba no ya pa no ho saa na ye de ne nam no ane ye de dua sabi akuo sabi nanano mo nimu a mimi nya abotre
wo fanya abotre
ana sabi nipa dasani wo de dua no ekọ sabi mpradua sa akọ woni turum wo no ana o ka se eno ano no na yenye nipa bio
Oh, champion! No.
Appreciate occupational hazard. Person in uniform one baako ana mufti for me ana match atimi protect oba wan hwehwe ewa montene so ana mob no emrantie no ani abre searches enya na otimi ba se na camera ma tua na sabiaku yedi camera tumi adi asempa na akoso yi
wofa minim I don't even know when we got here
omo yakofo
like time na yebedru bebe yedru
dia yede ye maame no eye proportional to dia yede ye be ma no ana
wofa
omo nyina so frifie ba akom omo nyina frifie ba akom omo nyina frifie ba akom enu nti na ma wo ba ne kan se eye enye fie ha na abesu aye nti oba no be ka se na abehye ne mu kan se oba ne koji asase no nti wo kire se wunim bra me bra ya me gi asase no
wofa on say no kranya me enim ni ye kan ya kan two wrongs do not make a right. The fact say
on him when you na see the same day. Wahine atna se ama wakana no kakra. Na ye to share no so. Ye to share no so no. Sa amrantie na katikati na omotwa wahine ho ahia. Yetimi aprocure wahine no before aye obey ya pa no ho yi. No oba ne sha akode batakari kese esoro ne fom ana na butire ana na eye dishia ba akote ne nchen enti ye wo hene no basa no ana secretary to ohene eye akonwa no eye se o protest se de ye ohene no ana ye pa na ni so se wono so ntina fom nka ohene no na wo ye secretary right ana ohene wono eche se de anim gu asesem kura ni na wodu asonto fom a na we na toso mienu ye ba kane ya nto no ti ye ba mprenu enu ene ya to no ya de asie nti wono kan sa na mema na twa no ho ahia no ena eye obai interrogate no ene ye pa ba na som efri nachi ene ogaza Jesus wo kan nyina no afei ya ye pa na ni so ana oba ne be ka se ma obia amfa ne sanka no nti ye we nyina no ne ye de camera esi no so obi akuta phones ni baba miensa e de kuta phones na na no mu twa no the sabre we no na chese word etimi pie ye the way etimi pie ye no na member of parliament for Betifin minister for agric so no etimi mobilize yama military police and national security and moving in quickly between employer so I want a divisional commander no or incidentally divisional commander employer so ayoba Mariano say and divisional crime officer so yoba the man you jurisdiction and the same way a koya omutimi mobilize ye ama proceed for and a be shattered de being shattered na move ye etwa mu Rock City anim in a distance of about 3 kilometers and 3-4 kilometers at the frame prior so a call abetifin into omutimi call etimi rescue or hineno net before then on abetifin rantie atake charge the abetifin rantie na take charge no more papa grofo ani so a abetishin ma no esha ase a yesu ti adontemfo no so no omosan bretufoɔ twon no ɛna ɛtena busua no ɛna yɛtimu a wei wahini de yɛtwa adwangu no so enti apɛde police kum military no every etimi extricate wahini no ɛne yɛsɛ twa wadwan edi edwira wahini no ɛhohoro nakoma ho sɛ kwatena konwa no so
ofa won sɛ eyenim gu asese mo mego hini n'anim ase I am just
wondering. You can say enim gu asesem ben nie.
Yeah, why gu n'anim ase pa because when did we enim say Ghana there nka ye kan mo ye bu omo pa su omo fere omo ahemfo di ntimi nyi omo mfim. Untimi enye sa na utu ohene ade so a ye enye ne sei. Emfa ne two ends oh wafana if not for anything again onye criminal what at all because we had the idea na say obi asebi wa ba krom obedi bone na ya che ne ye ne sa. You can't imagine that. I mean, sure say you nim say your hene pa. There is no way anybody could guess say where your hene. And ye na sa. Obe Jane say you within Libya. Kunya over 30 years.
30 years.
And na ye to mission nim ono ani kuromu. Edine to a sifom. No. I mean, unim kra ube hu said ye into obi ade so sa. So one person meten kunya so okroma. Ye into oni obi asa. It is not done. Well, I was saying, police. I could the police for them. I'll be very much interested in what the outcome will be. What I say, and now the idea of Banusu is very, very wrong. Very, very wrong. The fact is, say, or heneno, a can't so Banu share my year or henene does not mean say a chrome home rante or coins or mobile chairman, a you know, the nature crew.
Asa,
of course, the fact say, mamma, or share my year or henene sano. Emrana wo se ni nidi emrante ni hu kwan da biara da so omutimi yi ne ho e de ne twakro no that is also very wrong. It is wrong. You can't do that. And in whatever ohima na ye no ye be hwe na etua no ka emrante no so be and ye ka na ya
de omo ye maame no e proportional to the omo de ye be ma no
what no
it is proportional.
It is disproportional. It can never be. How? No, not at all. And I make us or your henny say I'm fan senka on your henny mpa enka. And I make us a bear man on shirt or sending nika sebe ne bear man kasanda bonti and shed down your ways. What I say now? Wait me ja or bahu at the nenam and I'm moka some of her babies. Oh, Mofa now it's me. No.
Then prosecutors also were so professional.
Omo ya de. But you see, nema bi say has say na say me hu say omo papa ebu mani so. Anka bi
the prosecutor papa.
No.
Omo focus was to extricate mama no.
It is true, but you see still na ye
wo papa na ni so wonnim de be si okromo. Ta opa eye kromani ba akokora ni so a wonnim de be si okromo.
Mate on the oma ya de.
Because obo na si ya e den ka betimi akase Kofo na shate frefre me no.
Mobo papa. And then they see Okroma Ghana. Hey, really? You drew say, is this where we've gotten to? Hey, baby, you drew near. Wow. I was so being be cried to me, say, and to maybe crow be pebby, a free baby crank and the back catama, men who 10. Offer. You say be a Ghana drew, so be on phobia.
1 year, yes, I dear we say no. Yadu omo akojina Georgia nim. Ama ya remind omo to reappear on the 14th.
Wofa she say Ghana wofa o me nsuo na meka anhwe asem mu enkosi hwe anhwe a
dabi enkasa
wofa me say anhwe a
enkasa wo de wunim de sie ne yeka ho asem nya de
wofa mobo it is very very bad and em ani bo no ma wo hu anka ye hwe na ye hye ne ma ye obi di bibi di ne nyonko bedwe hu ampa wo sanka ne ma bi say nka ye won ma bi say bi anka wo ye we betimi eku a eku
na ya
ti say bibi wetimi ejoba ho say mood insane
ade odwa oba ho ne yenku no
wofa ti say nka I mean
did you say that?
I am citing an example say till yen fa ne say nka say ti kroma I was generalizing also bi otimi fa say kan no eku no nyonko na we say life imprisonment obetina ho adi ne nkwa no cause ono nkasa ne obi na yuso kokun obi a lot of the time no ono ankasa no only she to lose in life enti no wo chi no kwa to prison ni ade no wo wesi yesika yeduane
space wo mo pa ma pa wo ba no ho ne akekere wo mo no
no when I say akekere wo mo no
mama invade ahimfie kwa ye be ma no sa ne including wo ba no ye pa no no ase se ya no wo gina mra no
okay nti wo fa let me understand omo invade fie ho na any omo ye ma oba me say a different group right
different group ko wie ne say tie ne yi Obano, and the Wahazumi responsibility. Say Bema way. Ye fear Hana ube shy. Adia would ye me a year. And no hin can say, my year dang. Or cousin ye fear Hana Bishan or hin can say, and ye hand and beside. And no himani busan say, should have quite out fast by your way. Bema no, and Kabibia, and an ear panis mono. And now, why say, or mutimi a delay, you know. Ama di omo yes on be ye bia yentimi nyanwie ye no na mrantie na timi abawura ho aba be rescue ohene no ti rescue ohene no until the police ku military baba no and omo na kire mrantie ni bia bo omo and ya pa oba no ho right
yeah
na akonwa nsoso no eye oba ene si akonwa enti senko so betunu mpo akwan awofa so tunu ni ana enti mrantie wo krom honom no eye den na watimi why na ko hu na ko body charge abe na behwe video yi na watimi akwa investigations akwa say adenti ana wo pa oba no
easy Ghana police ejuma we ketwa
mo for what reason
yen kire omo so omo pa oba ho edi na asi abonte na omo ibe di fi ho no so say no omo ka de a kire omo dada yen kire omo ye ma oba no so sa
ankrani bia menene boss ye no kan no tin na abugroga
asechese
mano bukiti
you matewa
enti a bit technical the ba ne say ye jama aye one ye ho aseda e ne ko say bibi boni bia antimi ankoso ama anya de benia ekuru no mu ansai ne yetimi kokko rescue aye ohene no ohene no ono na ya donten se de me kan ye no se base kwa man hini ni ho a one na ye acting Mr. head of the traditional area. Enti dia na ekoso a ye de ye oman hene no. De de ye oman hene na kire no. Dia ne ye hwehwe se acting no so ebetimi aka ade atoso. Am yetimi clear oman hene no. A clear your friend say adonten no so. Enti kawfuo naturally omunye kikiri nipa. Whatever the situation no. Yamfa aye amamre if we say ufri aye nkwatia na akwa abetifin nkwatia wayene kase no honom ye nanatuobi atuobi ko ye no de esi nkwatia ama atuo ana ede ko nkwatia ekototo ahemfie mu enti nkwatia enya nyoye mpo na kwaya fa so afede nkwatia abafom kakra ena nei ne next door abetifin say koso kwafo nye kikiri kwafo nye kikiri kura kwafo nye kikiri yo adi na ye be move on
yeah well let's move on yeah
na bi say network na basa nti wa anti bi nti we ye dey answer show no go na chi bi
there be on ko Facebook obehu ni na wo
ye show na watwero dey aben
enti wen hu
but ye video bi awa video no dey can say sexually explicit and quite sensitive to viewer sensitivity and necessary say degrading and humiliating a human being. Yebetimi Ashamana ye. Even so Poku Neka say good afternoon, or Father Cabre. Thank God it's Friday. And what they buy. Oyibo Boating on Facebook or say a vote for Dr. Baumia is a vote for development. Richard Nkatia or see we are listening to you live from Ningokrum and or they buy. Wafake or say NDC members of parliament are biggest problem in Ghana. Oscar Branche is ADAKABRI Frimpong Manso. I'm watching you live from Kanewu inside Tema West. No, the buy. Isaac Buafo. Also, good afternoon. You are doing a great job. Samuel Opong ADAKABRI, please. Your network is not working. Please check it. And or the buy. Emmanuel Kweku Yamua. Also, ADAKABRI, tell Ghanaians that they should be rest assured that the only presidential candidate that can take Ghana to the promised land is the only Dr. Muhammad Baumia is number 1 on the ballot. Johnson Mensah, also when a nation is supervised by lawless leaders, these things are deemed to happen. I'm not surprised. Johnson easily gone. Brown upon Wafa, please educate Nana Hima that the lady getting stripped is not the subject of discussion, but beating and attempting to kidnap the chief is the subject. She should throw her emotions away and stick to the issue at stake. And then he might hear. Was it? Please educate the group every year that the lady getting stripped is not a subject of discussion. But beating and attempting to kidnap the chief is the subject. She should throw her emotions away and stick to the issue at stake. Are you emotional?
I am not emotional.
So, Katawanina would say, na uputu in the wrapper of Obano. So, when I just triple Edwan Nante such principal streets, university students is also those who are a bit pa. Then university for equal basa anwa. Ote ukata when it say, you know, what went through your mind?
Ofa. Loka kukumeo.
Sir. So Obia
Nanka. Obia, Zebi na me if you days we.
Very free confidential source.
What are you saying? Anopa way. Me say go me woni that. Anopa way. Na say ya kan wa ha.
Na wa wuda ho no. Sabi wo baba be kata makoso akuma so.
Enu de mewu nti na me say me ko no. Enu de say me ko. De be see etre. Me ko.
Na bo samale wa boss say pam.
Enu e ono anase me mewu.
Iman
Wait, yeah.
Upon Samuel, as was offer. If I were there with my crew, those who slapped my king would have been beheaded alive. Strong, no. Tonight or and as I same will say, at two, I be tipping in one. Also, could be Kenny Petty. Stand up, good afternoon, Uncle. JM is coming like a kite. And humble McWhite. I say, good afternoon, sir. Please, I think our parliamentarians are just taking attention of the Galamsey fight. Your student McWhite and what the buyer. Ivan Sopoku on Facebook Live. I say MP should stay in the Parliament House. Even if they will not sit down, they should have stayed at Parliament and wait for the Speaker to see what he will do. Also, with regard to Ghana Freedom Party, can we allow Mamia Kwadonko picture to remain in her honor for the last time at least, and also to reduce cost? I know the buyer. Auntie, yeah.
Wafa.
Na Donald Trump is also can baby.
What's the day?
Na asem Donald Trump can you know. Ubeti.
Basha, meti pa.
Man of God. I say please send me the video. It's too bad. Bema wo po ba ya super.
Na me cry yes send me say. Oya come bonding. Na so me send video de ma no.
Bema ya strip
oba naked.
Who pedi ya dey?
Wo fa send de na ntokwa no. Baby police.
Me agent of sharing such photos.
They me chant
I will do that.
Send ntokwa baby police for be mu na ho na sa.
No, I won't do that.
Send no.
Enti yenya emfa emma
ye ni video na esem a ye ntimi send.
Me pesa me na me the agent I may share such pictures. But if my views are such that it offends public sensibility.
Then why would share it with someone else?
Of
course.
Into money yetting. Into yana one just say maybe audio no mabo ship. But me and me make sure some conscience in me be say men sending from my because source so me nya so no source no me person me yebon the next time bibi ni sending source no and sending from me. Enti no de abufuo be boda mu abepiase sa de oba bepe na yenhwe Donald Trump so no ensem bia Donald Trump so ekekae na Ghana ha say no obi eka sa kire Ghanaians a ye beto abade amana na tie Donald Trump na sebrofo no American slangs so better dey
of amante abeche me munti na wa hai
okay nti say asema Donald Trump ken say Ghanaian political leader bi per Ghanaian vote no can wait the chair Ghanaians are. You better have a man. You
better say, you better have a man. I am coming.
You better have a man. One way, a penny could do the matter. I didn't know actually. Yea, if you have this to cry the money. Nana, Behama. Just I have crabon no. Penny. You find connection here. Donald Trump was saying. That's a mawaha. Hey, Mupanjamio. Donald Trump have never.
Physical appearance and ultimately performing surgery, the left-wing gender insanity being pushed on our children is an act of child abuse. On day one, I will revoke Joe Biden's cruel policies on so-called gender-affirming care. Ridiculous. A process that includes giving kids puberty blockers, mutating their physical appearance, and ultimately performing surgery on minor children. Can you believe this? I will sign a new executive order instructing every federal agency to cease all programs that promote the concept of sex and gender transition at any age. The Department of Justice will investigate Big Pharma and the big hospital networks to determine whether they have deliberately covered up horrific long-term side effects of sex transitions in order to get rich at the expense of vulnerable patients, in this case, very vulnerable. We will also investigate whether Big Pharma or others have illegally marketed hormones and puberty blockers which are in no way licensed or approved for this use. My Department of Education will inform states and school districts that if any teacher or school official suggests to a child that they could be trapped in the wrong body, they will be faced with severe consequences. I will ask Congress to pass a bill establishing that the only genders recognized by the United States government are male and female, and they are assigned at birth. The bill will also make clear that Title IX prohibits men from participating in women's sports. No serious country should be telling its children that they were born with the wrong gender, a concept that was never heard of in all of human history. Nobody's ever heard of this, what's happening today. It was all when the radical left invented it just a few years ago.
Donald Trump, and what can I say no? Say it me work with that. Na kodano where bema where niso. But na akodano yamana tino who say ese where oba and yakot trap no bema ye body mu. Inti ye hormones no. Ye ne yetimi asesa amana ye oba as opposed to bema na wabeye say no. And ne abre ho. And we say eye free titini nyina no. Ye ni man say oba ne bema ni. Free titi and ye nim so oba ne bema ni. Inti say ba say yes pharmaceutical companies and eye we dia. This our system we ama eye mema so aye ma dia. Ombehwehwem na se beba se ye de ye ma ahiafo na yetimi yedidi wo mo ho ama pharmaceutical companies no enya mfaso de ya yensentie Donald Trump biem na yebusa se obi ka we political leaders nipa 13 na ekono why na nasema work an ebe we hu na obi timi nya kokrodo ka we kire Ghana fo a fo amani ebe ma no +1 and now +100 yentie
Left-wing gender insanity being pushed on our children is an act of child abuse. On day one, I will revoke Joe Biden's cruel policies on so-called gender-affirming care. Ridiculous. A process that includes giving kids puberty blockers, mutating their physical appearance, and ultimately performing surgery on minor children. Can you believe this? I will sign a new executive order instructing every federal agency to cease all programs that promote the concept of sex and gender transition at any age. The Department of Justice will investigate Big Pharma and the big hospital networks to determine whether they have deliberately covered up horrific long-term side effects of sex transitions in order to get rich at the expense of vulnerable patients, in this case, very vulnerable. We will also investigate whether Big Pharma or others have illegally marketed hormones and puberty blockers which are in no way licensed or approved for this use. My Department of Education will inform states and school districts that if any teacher or school official suggests to a child that they could be trapped in the wrong body, they will be faced with severe consequences. I will ask Congress to pass a bill establishing that the only genders recognized by the United States government are male and female, and they are assigned at birth. The bill will also make clear that Title IX prohibits men from participating in women's sports. No serious country should be telling its children that they were born with the wrong gender, a concept that was never heard of in all of human history. Nobody's ever heard of this, what's happening today. It was all when the radical left invented it just a few years ago.
Abdul Razak Yamwatanase ma yane law lecturer form entimi ni nkomo kakra na yemusa ne se adwenhwekan kwabotwe ewini national science and maths quiz no omo akotena Cape Coast agi womani me wopase comedy ani aduane adi e wo besiase a watimi afre London abesna ko Cape Coast ko ginani lawyer form ani emo lawyer, good afternoon.
Mamudu.
Naam.
Mamudu.
Naam.
Oh, Mamudu. Oh.
Lord, na
Mamudu.
Naam. Makwabu. Na kwabotwe National Science and Maths quiz no ma wini a. Can you imagine say a comedy abusuafo wa dwoso besiase ye pebia to aduane dia me ofa ase boache dankwa owele onini nua panyine onana atimi afri London abesna ko Cape Coast ma omujimani obeduru nkrakwa wa amfrem o Cape Coast no ofrem so ofa ye ne agi ye ne no. Can you imagine?
No. And what is that bad body? Ye ko be bia na ye handkerchief ni no e je ko to pum. We say we are gentlemen. It yet first the way the GNE na was
oh, David.
I'm torn between that and program in Kumasi for who's a Methodist for no. Check Kumasi that was in Doctor chairman of the new diocese and the president of the boys. I'm torn between going to join them in Cape Coast and then going to Kumasi.
I don't hear about Kumasi Methodist DNA. Because me papa SK danso wo pray as Kumasi diocese be che me and say SK danso ko ye Mrs Dorothy danso aglo ni kunu papa SK danso and say anye ya na chiri no na ye be che mu mienu e the Methodist for moya de Kumasi and the following week no so no dakese prempe the second otumfo otumfo adima prempe the first so no dakase ofri Seychelles so ebeduru ye ene abrofo enti eno so ewo ho and say the following week another major Archbishop of Canterbury kra me hwe anim say obeba asante enti ye wo data kase di anim in the next 2 weeks in Na mame mo a voice be entrel. Papa Donald Trump. Na yenhwe say giving wo believe any your stance on gender manipulation any mutations no asamwa Donald Trump Ghanaian political leader bi betimi aka bi ana na oka obetimi anya dom ame yedi na chi ana ibato tie voice imam kakra bi
left-wing gender insanity being pushed on our children. Left-wing gender insanity being pushed on our children is an act of child abuse. On day one, I will revoke Joe Biden's cruel policies on so-called gender-affirming care. Ridiculous. A process that includes giving kids puberty blockers, mutating their physical appearance, and ultimately performing surgery on minor children. Can you believe this? I will sign a new executive order instructing every federal agency to cease all programs that promote the concept of sex and gender transition at any age. The Department of Justice will investigate Big Pharma and the big hospital networks to determine whether they have deliberately covered up horrific long-term side effects of sex transitions in order to get rich at the expense of vulnerable patients, in this case, very vulnerable. We will also investigate whether Big Pharma or others have illegally marketed hormones and puberty blockers which are in no way licensed or approved for this use. My Department of Education will inform states and school districts that if any teacher or school official suggests to a child that they could be trapped in the wrong body, they will be faced with severe consequences. I will ask Congress to pass a bill establishing that the only genders recognized by the United States government are male and female, and they are assigned at birth. The bill will also make clear that Title IX prohibits men from participating in women's sports. No serious country should be telling its children that they were born with the wrong gender, a concept that was never heard of in all of human history. Nobody's ever heard of this, what's happening today. It was all when the radical left invented it just a few years ago.
La famani
Mamudu, the kind of Mindawasti for all that you've done for Ghana again. And you said, we know you are a very humble, nice guy. You wouldn't like me to say this, but you've done so well in your commitment to the truth. No correct. And now, no crying, no say the catch it, you never catch a telling truth to power. Because who said you have to check us? You have been very consistent. Let me detect where resist that issue with. Let me connect it to Ghana because if you are about to I think we about change the age. Say, only Paul Bema. Now, Octoria was your bar. Now, but no only empire broke without any proof whatsoever. Wouldn't say about say on the 17th of July, the deputy dean in charge of academics at the University of Ghana will do press conference. A catcher Ghana point in our say, and what changes that is the vice chancellor of the University of Ghana in collusion with the management. I don't know whether the deputy council is aware. And what changes the University Statutes of Ghana to reflect what they call DEI, diversity, equality, and inclusion, which will change the names that the level grammar was a normal gender, transgender nonsense here. Trump Brooklyn. It is replicated in the educational system with what they call DEI, diversity, equality, and inclusion. Now, never over changes where they don't do he and she alone. Who did they did that at the time? Now, the University of Ghana has now changed its statutes to reflect the science in whom we are. You aware?
Minim dasa wokan.
Then I make it now. I want Ghanaians to see 2 days ago. I make a was facing this school. Now, one of these young journalists, was very rude to me. But I mentioned you in this telling because no crackana is being And people get all sorts of things. Let's say, he knows where his bread is started. It is who kind of benefit now. He wants to put it down. Mamudu, you can Google for 17th of July and the University of Ghana and DEI, diversity, equality, and inclusion. Now, we are going to write to when I said we are in the coalition, me as deputy secretary, he didn't come over with it. We're going to write to the vice chancellor of the University of Ghana to find out at some a press conference, I am going to now, so you catch a nuclear and the vice chancellor, there's no material. And they know her, she's a Christian, a good person. But so over to exchange Ghana. We have five samples of the University of Ghana, a public university. Now, over the statute, without any recourse to even the Ministry of Education, that the country minister, and ADAKABRI, and somehow, what is the Trump LK? I idea. Yes, U.S. one issue, and when we know it is happening. And it is happening in a lot of universities in this country. At the right time, I'll give you the list. Your own public universities are adopting these beautiful changes to the way our children are educated without even recourse to science. It's an attack broken. ADAKABRI, me know, lawyer, but at least science. There's a man and a woman, but what would be a problem? What be that?
Debbie.
She need them. What be that?
Debbie.
He said they're Trump program. And so, possibly, other than Nipa Action Nipa Jenny in such a way that you will Nipa that's a need now or the more product. And I said, a woman in the woman where we say, this is an aberration. Medical science better. Oh, wait there, a normal action. You bet me have done it because we know that in science, your X chromosomes, XX and XY. XY, then XX or bar. If there's a little mutation, we can always correct it. Oh, the emission. It's different. Not say, oh, yeah, even if the most of that, and I interpret that. ADAKABRI, the truth of the matter is that we can do the genetic profiling and the chromosomal markings. We say, oh, we are XY, we are permanent over. Now, say we are 170 and we can also see whether it's XX into our bar, we know it. Now, say you associate man, we are or mean now, why would the permanent investment? Said you associate man at home. You better the church. After we've done the chromosomal markings, they are dealing now, genetic profile, or your XY. Say, oh, Berman about Jinja, you about it, you're not to know. Now, you're the Berman or and one out so that we can bring the best. Now, ADAKABRI, I'm make to the win. Name Calico. Yamia do. We have established a medical system, a holistic sexual therapy system. And then we have looking. We have a young girl, she came to us with a Berman, but or an interface, or buy a or buy. She's lived about 18 years of her life as a girl. And now, or buy a PM1. ADAKABRI, me cousin, young people, there are doctors where a tissue of Ghana. You chromosomal marking, so XY, our Berman. You really so, and your genetic profiling, and we said, or your Berman, confirm. We are taking it through psychological preparation. I mean, no, can they obey us? And now what that done in nicely so that he will be who he is. May a groom on night. Now, what I can be,
I bet me about say big pharmaceutical companies. A bit me at tongue a year puberty blockers. Amma say wa background na yes sebiaku yema ne ho emma se de si ade no entimi manenim na yetimi maintain no say e de ema no konkoye bema say we just
ni ya tikasam any sikandi pe no bon sam se you say wuru all the maintain. But quickly to end on what I was saying, what I was trying to say is this problem, identity, social human rights, these are medical problems which we know the truth about any woman. Now, say you sue medical science, we can address it together with lesbianism, gayism, I can trust, I can assure you that some holistic sexual therapy system here is launching on the 6th of March 2020, the year of the COVID. Now, you should have choose today. Now, you GM want to we have a huge medical system. So just to end on the note, some woman will a question go need to be in the room. But someone will do a much now I'm happy that Trump is going to change the so-called medical doctors, the pharmaceutical company, and you will see them here. Finland and Switzerland, these things, all these such which conduct on children, so-called transgender transition, because or yes, transition in here, obey the best 16, 17, almost a thing. So I want to go back. ADAKABRI, the queer woman said, this transition, put me go back.
Permanent.
Yes, are damaged forever. What would they make
Ghana has say, could we expect any of the 13 persons when Abidjan was a Ghana for one share na Yantua Bama Womono? Ubibetimi a Genesim Pieso Akadia, something similar on the same terms or lines as a year Trump Air Kayana. No can Ghana for the Duano, Ebetina some permana.
It's of ADAKABRI. The queer woman said, Ghana for the cheaper. Because and I'm sending you back to the Commission of Inquiry to change the Constitution. Professor Mills in 2009. We show more report now. One issue, this issue of LGBTQ, transgender, no. LGBT, transgender, no. We take them together. I said, I can now, and the movie now, so I would like to put all of them together. One of the issues are a year very emotional. It was our commissioner, it was very emotional. All the data and statistics that say over 98% of Ghanaians don't agree with this nonsense. How much more even the transgender or the American America, lesbians, gayism, they be somehow being able to say that support. But transgender is the media. Now Africa had the remember when Ghana had it. Transgender look like airtime. Or the mission. So need the beer panels or cafe or tia. Open Ghana in fact in Ghana. What you could MPP for the reason why they struggled in Aseno on the catch them. It was because of this LGBT issue. Now also ADAKABRI, my main credit. The current president of this country. Madame Fofana. But may catch the president and you say, on this issue, he has failed Ghanaian. Because you are the leader, which constitution Article 58 cabinet. He is the head of state, commander-in-chief, and then the head of government. These three roles are put in one. And he represents this country in terms of what we believe in. All the nation. Indeed, Article 72 cabinet, the diplomatic relations of this country are supposed to be conducted in the interest of Ghana. And Article 295 cabinet, what is the interest of Ghana? Interest of Ghana's cabinet, it is what the majority of Ghana, everything that we need, the benefit of the majority of Ghanaians. There's an idea Ghana for your doors from a bed and there was a new president who did him now who projected. So it doesn't even matter about your own ideas and how you believe. It doesn't matter. The young is a Ghana for you and I make a Peter question say Ghana for you never trade in a cheap. ADAKABRI, no woman say Ghana for a literal that as you Obama your president in 2016. Or say the battle in the north. Ghana for a two Obama, and we expect that he is supposed to push our values. Now, Osha Article 34, it talks about the directive principles of state policy. And it is plain, say, Ghana, your values all the state institutions, presidents, judiciary, parliament, the media, everybody is supposed to apply the directive principles of state policy in the promotion of a just and free Ghanaian society. That is Article 34.1. Article 39.1, I can't say our customary values, your money, your family, your moral values, no, it should underpin whatever we do in the terms of the planning of this country. And at the end of the month, the president say all the interview 2018, you be saying why the year, or it is bound to happen. Recently, the bill here, did blow says, and my president say, oh, now said, what is the meaning of this?
In fact, it was the secretary to the president, Nana Bidie.
Secretary to the president, on whose instructions did he write? You see, ADAKABRI, Mr. President, Madame Bopa. But many are because my friend, to be honest with you, has failed this country. I have told him in his face, and I'm going to say it openly. It is not right. Oh, say you have asked me a question, sir. Ghana leaders here every Ghana get the song Akana. Look at the United States, here at the US. Kasa, the US ambassador until 2021, so that US ambassador, UK ambassador, Australian ambassador. Everyone the general office on the LGBT guy. Yes. So, and Obakaya is mean if Ghana does not allow LGBT, will be blackmailed. Why would you watch on the Twitter page? And your party bill, you will remember, sir, the Minister of Finance wrote a paper, said, Ghana,
Finance Minister.
Thank you. So, who were those putting together these things to fighting Ghanaians?
So lawyer, can we draw parallels from the American elections here in Ghana?
Thank you. My brother said, those very people are made during the election, and this LGBT issue was part of the campaign. I'm not yet sure about a Democrats. Now, young Ghana, we didn't wait for America. We didn't wait for Donald Trump. The 2018, comprehensive sexuality education, wrong. We told people that people stood against the America for that. We refused to obey them, and now the bill has been passed. And so what I'm saying is that Ghana, we have been on the right track. Unfortunately, this president has failed us, and I'm going to say so. He has failed this country. Now, who besides the other leaders who are coming? All right, Dr. Aumia, I'm also Madam Fuka. I am proud of what he has done. So that's a bush really about opening the cast or no LGBT or a Muslim on into. And he said it specifically, said, despite any consequences, he will be prepared to face the consequences. Ghana, we don't believe in that. It's against our values. Former President John Mahama, also on the 31st of January, Ghana, or your assembly of both LGBT still someone on into it will be in a law. You're passing it, you will sign it. I'm sure you remember. Alan, now on all the hotel, Yami Alan, but recently, Matis on track, I say. On this time, the same way all the making. So the answer to your simple question is that Ghana for when LGBT tell you are there a born time. Now what we need that Ghana ha and now Africa now we need to be now known by then you don't qualify to leave this country. And I am happy that the current leaders who are competing during this election are prepared to stay, and they have stated openly the best plan say, yes, you did to me best one son. No more done it. To say, me, Madam for President, the battle is the Lord. After now I done it before. That is what we don't want.
Right.
I don't want a situation where Ghanaians give them the catch and say, then she have 2 minutes, Now say Adani be before. The so they make actually in respect of what is happening at the University of Ghana. Because this is a public university and the Minister of Education is in charge of some of these things. Thankfully, as I said, the Obria Dr. King, they also happened. So we are going to write to the Vice Chancellor. Hopefully she will listen to common sense, and if she has changed the status, she will change it back. I hope she hasn't done. But if she has, Madam, you know that she
possibly politically correctly, Nunkabe can say if she will listen to sense rather than common sense.
Oh, well, that's Trump can say it is nonsensical, but I never want ADAKABRI. And no one was a professor. You see, I mean, one reason why I get very upset with this thing is educated Ghanaians who should know better. Oh, ADAKABRI, and I have discussed this with you.
Yeah.
You and I are good friends.
Yes.
What is the purpose of that? The purpose is to be able to use the knowledge to assist our poor people. Maybe I'm a lot of students, make sure say, oh, air conditioning, Obi na akodo koko. Sika no nya ya kwade akotonye nya dole. And the air conditioning be see as it is your duty to be an advocate for those people.
Yeah.
How do you make them? So it hurts me when Ghanaian intellectuals who should know better, professors of sociology, philosophy, psychology, instead of defending the then they are using their knowledge to say you support their Trump. I don't want to use those words. I said you watch me up. But if you listen to Trump, this is why people like him. He talks the common language of common people. What is it?
Deputy.
So why should we be doing because sometimes
finally, lawyer, on pass between Ghanaian MPs in the parliamentary chamber with the speaker on tour and separation of powers, the judiciary, the executive, and the legislature, the air way say journalists, the fourth estate of the realm. Now, in capturing what is happening, you see a action of the speaker in adjourning the house. Now, response majority leader in quotation marks. Edebaya. I mean, read the 6 newspapers headlines and sure, Naminyo comment kakra. Whether the media, the fourth estate of the realm, we are also helping to resolve the impasse. The Daily Graphic comes out with a story today, and the headline is Parliament adjourns again. Government business still hangs. And a year state-owned or the buy. Ghanaian Times also comes out. Impasse in Parliament. Speaker adjourns House indefinitely again. Anna or the buy. No Times and a year graphic agent of fan. And then with a very beautiful photo of MPs, the Ghanaian Chronicle goes, Babin is supervising chaos in Parliament, says Majority Leader Afenyo Markin. Daily Guide, Speaker, NDC, on war path, Afenyo Markin. The Ghanaian publisher, Babin, leading NDC on war path, Majority Leader. The new publisher, Babin setting fire on Ghana in collusion with NDC. Then finally, the Daily Dispatch, Speaker Babin betrayed an agreement that he would address NDC MPs as the minority. Afenyo explains. And then the Daily Statesman, stop supervising NDC chaos. Majority Leader takes Speaker to task. What do you make of it?
Well, ADAKABRI, now I hope you will give me some time to end on the issue.
Okay.
Quickly, Ghana, your constitutional system. A lot of people talk about separation of power. Now, any good constitutional lawyer, when you're good political science teacher, not sure what you say. Separation of powers, let's say, legislature ejina omo shemra executive omo emra they must execute make sure te be adwuma any judiciary omo a asemba omo me di asem no obia na paako the three co-equal arms of government ye be chiro but ye bet you can catch laws to say if you have a very good professor of constitutional law like Kumando or Chairman you be catch laws say Ghana and constitutional system a boama democrat separation of powers it is not what we call strict compartmentalization. That's how about 1418 with the experiment said obia gina faako and so to achieve the purposes of democracy. Now kebima minkebia membu what is the purpose of it? Article 1, it summarizes it very beautifully of our constitution. Sovereignty resides in the people of Ghana, and all the powers of government are supposed to be exercised for and on their behalf and for their well-being. Ayana, the chairman student, the country say, "Sao West no one has got a meaning. West didn't know meaning. All those words have meaning. You can't say sovereignty. To me, what Ghana is now. Ghana for who speak, and you want him probably there, and I say President that we are all under the law. Sovereignty. To me, Ghana for the ground. You can't say Ghana for now the ground. Actually, say, Kam Swan 4 years near Kotoapa. Me a pony work that can answer to me near Gray. Yeah, they are president that would the Yesto. Now, I said to you, Shemra, or not the year. Ghana Sikani na pay my na parliament is not a Obama parliamentarians. Most of them call up for Chemra, a beboy ADAKABRI, you're a student of history. The reason why we don't elect people is that Ghana going nine people will be in charge of to the chaotic. It's the Greek system, no, we elect people to go and work on your behalf. Judicial media, we don't elect them, they elect some of the judicial members of the judiciary. But I know that the process of selecting the judiciary it involves all the three arms of government. And it is not strict compartmentalization. One example, because you don't have time. You have a chief justice, a president, a ben nominated in consultation with the Council of State. Then Parliament will vet. Parliament, a legislature. You would have thought that in the election or the selection of a chief justice, Parliament, if it's a strict compartmentalization, I didn't choose the president, but we are involved. But the executive nominates, then an arm of the higher authority, advisory body, like the Council of State, will also advise. Then he or she is vetted by Parliament, and then when it's finished, the president then swears the chief justice in. This involves all the three arms of government. In fact, there are so many instances where constitution the three arms of government are supposed to work together, and according to Article 1, for and on behalf of Ghanaians. As I said, in law we are saying that we have constituted you into an agent or a trustee. Too many of their thoughts, but we are you are working for our behalf and for our well-being. Now let us relate it to what has happened. The question is that if there is work to be done in this country, why everyone say or passing blank? One everyone said you assemble obey them, and one everyone said you and someone was the little parliament get it call. We can go into the details. I think, to be honest with you, all the three arms of government in respect of this issue of the parliamentarians, the issue of court, the way a lot of mistakes were made. I've been very honest, a lot of mistakes were made which could have been handled so that there will be, because as I said, all the three arms of government are supposed to work for the well-being of Ghanaians. It is not that we are not doing it for us. We are only doing it for your own selfish interest. All the mission. But I also say, judiciary now you to me assure almost that some of that They can take any decision on their own. No, without even going through the proper processes of the law. And not yet. Many judicial it is true. Final judicial power is vested in the judiciary. But almost the open Article 125 of say justice emanates from the people. To me, you have to judicial and then Chief Justice down on. Too many Frigana for her. So she's supposed to exercise it for and on behalf of the people and in the interest of Ghanaians. Okay, that's our brow. You have to ask yourself, decision here is taking. What is going to be the impact on the legislature? What is going to be the impact on the executive? Because as someone in respect of the choice of parliamentarians, the Santo Kofi Assembly, and day. I didn't know that. No way you have to quickly at 2 o'clock. Yeah, former panel. Now, why should that be the case? This is a chief justice. I didn't want to move. I like her. She's a good friend of mine. I think she probably wanted to speed up what was happening. But people will ask questions in terms of perception. I didn't know air change. No way you why should that be the case?
So that spectacle of her leadership saying, say, what is going on in Ghana? We have a constitutional crisis. And then in a subtle manner, Tados Sorry said purpose for which they are in court is not about whether there's a constitutional crisis or not. Now, Chief Justice then comes back very well. Emma Fedo, aligned. What do you make of that spectacle?
Oh, her leadership is worried about what is happening. But you see, that is why judicial environment, you must be careful with the statements you make. Because if you are not she's worried that I think they are justices because I'm sure you know that there are 2 justices that are supposed to be vetted for the Supreme Court.
Yes.
No, at the head of the judiciary. And don't forget, by Article 1253, she's the head of the judiciary administratively. It was no in her mind. Hey, that time I'm just you don't remember. Are you getting me? It's for her. That delay is good. If Parliament is not sitting, you will find that her nominations are not going to go. Budget here. You do for I'm asking upon the name and say, hey, we have move, they can't move, one day where because like, no, my plan, I can say, oh, President, I can say, oh, don't worry, the next budget, no, the budget in attention, she's worried that the Judicial Service Association will go on strike. The Judicial don't act. So, the Judicial or if you obey or it is politically influenced. But I can understand where her leadership is coming from, all the mission. But you see, all of these things, we all have to be guided by what is happening in the circumstance. I think we could have been more careful, more consultative, and therefore resolve this matter in such a way that we will not disturb the core action of government, which is government business must always proceed, but must proceed in a way in which in terms of legal precedent of beyond question. And I think some of this discussion, let me share this with you, because by virtue of my status as a senior lecturer in the law school and a senior member of the bar, I relate with the justices a lot. I know all of them, and even parliamentarians, I know all of them. And a lot of them, and more my resolve law. ADAKABRI resolve law court. We resolve it behind the scenes.
That is consensus.
Exactly, by consensus. And even with the judiciary, the Supreme Court, the Transia, decisions are open to my Transia, the canon. You can't say the Supreme Court is a policy court. Policy court, when they are interpreting the Constitution, almost the so they reach the decision and then they use the law to provide the cover for it. That is what a policy court is. I am sure that more consultation would have ensured, okay, decision, the man say, results move this way. You're going to say, so we discuss it and we know, okay, when the one, I'm not so that we don't use the tools of the executive, the judicial power in such a way that a member will be able to say, I said, no go to one side and one echo. What did they make us? When justice must not be done, must but be seen to be done. That's a very important cardinal principle.
We are a bit concerned about the negative media, adverse media reportage or perception on the superior courts now.
Oh, ADAKABRI, so the media so the not me shot and the bow of us. The media and I say you ADAKABRI, you cannot play. This evening, we are having a little function for the Emperor, your friend, Mr. Mike Egan. They set the standards. Masa, ADAKABRI, standards are you're setting in the past, not only in the electronic media, but in the print media. These days, the some adults, and you obey so media, maybe be taking ADAKABRI. You know it. If you can take a media house and know where the person is coming from and why he's saying what he's saying, or the mission. Nuclear, I catch it, or cast them, yes, or nuclear, but or to suit his or her payment. The other thing is that or come before Nimbiana Day. Look at the discussion that I've had with you. Look at the level of education that we have had. And one at number by and I walk out to producer, that
is what exactly
happened. Exactly. That is what shows that you know what you're doing. But some of the media houses, look at the knowledge that you and I have shared on this program in the last 20-30 minutes. And I'm sure that your listeners, if you open the phone line, will tell you that, they enjoyed it.
Okay, we will end it here. In fact, we've had discussions for 39 minutes, 18 seconds, and we will leave it here.
I don't think that is what you envisage.
Not
but it's because the discussion is educative, it is, but unfortunately, media, and the production itself is not that strong. And before we product, you must reach a certain standard. And each issue be over fun. What far or what? So we say, you won't be there. What's a lawyer? Be a lawyer. Be a lawyer, and then you follow to the back.
La woman with that say, na Yankrupo Chediam Punshrow. Na views na o share no. And your widespread na yin and yanti a hoase.
Mati Mamudu.
Nam.
Mamudu.
Nam. Hey. Abdul Razak of the National Democratic Congress NDC in the studios. Abdul Razak, and we are expecting to have Gilbert Omane of the New Patriotic Party also in the studios, and then we would have eventually Ebo Bachman also from the Movement for Change in the studios. And key topics mienu and yede ebabe yejuma, and we advertised and said say. Topics no I was here dikan Emma omo enya na omutimi prepare and unti what are the topics na yenhwe or say can we draw parallels from the American elections here in Ghana? Abdurrahman, I hope you got it.
Yeah, I got it.
And then will the impasse between MPs in the Ghanaian parliament impact negatively on any candidates on the ballot? Nah, you got that one as well.
Yeah, I got that one.
Okay, we are going to allocate 20 minutes for you to deal with the two. But before then, I'll spend 7 minutes on another interview, and then we allocate you your 20 minutes. You have your first 10 minutes on that one subject, and then the second 10 minutes on the second one.
No problem.
And then you will not interject anybody, and nobody would interject you. Even when somebody thinks you are lying, you are making propaganda, it is between you and me and your God. Nobody, stops you.
No problem.
But Brigadier General Nunu Mensah retired on the line. General Yamuaha.
Opening me your soul and poem.
General Daruma, Yamia Shida, and also Supanyini also what to saying. Why are dear, o voice no crown and your cracky, o voice no a smooth, coerce. Right. America for the Aqua elections, can we draw any parallels from the American elections here in Ghana?
We have a lot to learn, especially Papa saying, and also I'm getting a bench, you know, be a hard agree. Actually, it's Abamon. Ghana, no, especially because in the Akoto of Fonso say, Indiana, a corporate about Petcha, about Pacifica, may who say, Obia, I want to get to you, Papa don't win it because I saw one become one of you, only young. In the pocket, I want some money to pay, but for 20, no more to money. The lesson is that I bet you have a very soon. Now, it never be a far amount for honor. Mamma begging on my mouth for me. how it will benefit us, not how to benefit the people that we are going to stand for. In the business, they will cry. Now, a friend, which is two big parties no more problem. Now, Bakus, a friend, say, yes, school never put a day in a young twaba. This is yourself from a friend saying, economy, a 24 hours. Now, make maybe I'm in Chelsea. If you America for the what really happened is that a Democrats, all the Bible, they preach a man for. We fear to have a man before because you have both parents. And so, I'm Kenya, a man for again, when about preaching the old music, the old sorry, Nancy, ADAKABRI, if you are so, Obiani, so maybe a woman, me from Eddie. Nancy Ghana, will be a dinner, but will be a young man. Maybe actually, a Ghana for the vehicle, some yes, more. And so they can say, and can you have for near other benefit, two major parties, I'm going to be into Alabama, a free SHS, to Alabama, a friend saying, why, I will be so busy of an hour, we don't know how I did. Me as I'm a baby at actual. And so I'm out for Obia and Yaki. And I'm beginning with a sister and young mother woman and co Frankie, the engineer, a pay or sin or by at the one thing of a car, into Obia or on being a gunner for you. In the young, especially the poor man, the needy are more simple. Obia, this is a young would it get Mr. Media, Medins are pretty much in the sky. How is that person going to?
The general me say economy. Donald Trump in the first instance, as 45th president, the performance in the economic sector, no, and this time round, Oma Adi Asha Swasandi Atu Obama na the 47th president. Ghana has say yes, shed the economy nipa the atuaba. Say Adenta West, Ubi High Nine, single room self-contained. 8 year 700 cities. Now 2 years later, single room self-contained, 1,500 a month. Oh, just what to a bar. Why pan a benya gidi ewunu?
We Ghana economy we be one. Even who say getting because okay, the way of course, right, you can't buy anything. May I almost have been here for more than one by how do they survive? How do they survive? And so, before every woman, I don't know what they think about the plan. To be honest with you, they would be, say, economy in the pie, they would do it there. Won't have a family because the aircon, minimum how they are surviving. If you have been a Mabrabo, I'm a Yabu, and I came from a very poor background. We never plan some of the fishermen. A fisherman son, or nobody else, believe maybe. They grab a jersey. They get me school fees. And I will say, school fees and say, the books are going to be taught. And so I bounce your body. I'm a free senior high school. Mobile, yes, could be a corner. I so fairly panoa. I don't know how they are surviving. I couldn't go to it. How do we can make what answer the other? I said, they can put that in make as my. But we are meeting. If I believe that, you can be a former chief of defense staff, even a penny. Former national security president, late president. Now, my thing, I don't know how we are surviving. So, what I'm saying here is that I'm going to be Ghana, probably Ghana, because I'm Ghana, I'm feeling here, or my Jabetum. Because people are going through hell. The people who talk about America, and that's the reason why they voted for this. And this man, everybody himself. I know very well, so if you're obeying, you're not going to do. The Ghana for we police commission, we say we say education fee. Education fee, yet Jaka. Yet the Ghana, ADAKABRI, is so young, being up pro. Because two are going to answer about 1961. I check. But Accra, minimum Accra. And the 12 million, the chemicals, they said, nobody seemed to care about it. Look at it. If you travel by air, if you talk about the black, if you feel so where the rivers, pra and cobra and so on meet the skin. In fact, who do you know what you say? And the people, they know they are killing us, and they don't let it work care. They know they are killing the people. Yeri and Kebino, you know, if it's this cancer, breast cancer, this cancer, that cancer. That cancer is with local food, a fresh, a cleaner. I can swear my bottom dollar say, who may cancer they are.
Akyɛ sɛ wosɛ nkyɛɛ bi akora no na nyaadoa frɔyɛ ne bayerɛ ne apem na kyɛ sɛ ɛyɛ yɛ favorite papaapa wobubu ɛyɛ salmon bi kakra de gu mu a but ɛnɛ wode nyaadoa no sɛ wopoto a na yɛ sɛ dendenden wo so wokyi a na yɛ sɛ tikyɛ sɛ yɛnyɛ nyaadoa papa biara ɛna yɛde ayɛ nyaadoa frɔyɛ yɛyɛ ndɛn ne
to be honest with you, minimum 88 or I didn't think I was doing it this old. That's not okay. I know that my brain is functioning 100%. You know, I keep at that because we, as I said, maybe. But yeah, in fact, member in their 50s, in their 20s and 30s. I pity them. What we are dying. I mean, look. I can feel we are dying. Because in the healthy diet, and those who are supposed to take care of our life, they don't care a foot about what we eat and for them. How to get power and use that power for themselves, not for the sake of the people who are going to elect them. Now, my share in the air, the children say, no more than the age group, the 88, 90, and Cheroko. Now, you are quite, but you can't remain here forever. One more ban. I mean, I introduced ADAKABRI, but I agree for them. And I'm appealing to those who want to take on political office. Say, look, they're not coming for their own, they're coming for the good of the people. People are going through hell. And nobody, look, what I'm thinking, never like I was over here, people like Mr. Trump, who are rich, so many of them across the board, including Ghana. They are thinking only about how to continuously enrich themselves at the expense of the poor, and that is not good enough. And if I will use the medium to appeal to the young people in their 35, 40, I don't know about 39 when they became a joint the CPP, sorry, the UGCC and elected the CPP. They should sit up and don't think that general, they're my partners, my colleagues. They're all gone, and very soon I will be gone. The man sorry, no man John, I don't know what you're quite convenient. You think sorry. Now I'm going to take interest in what's going on. But if you don't take interest now, you're going to let the government that doesn't care about you, and your future will be at great risk.
Okay, General, me fancy for now. Na yɛmfa mpa wɔn tɛkyi na nyankopɔn ma n'ani nkɔ ho no nhwɛ so ne yɛn so no yɛntimi nkae wo na tena se kyɛ na wonim deɛ no yɛmfa anidi da biara
medasi but yeah momentum because when I get worried not about my own sake because of the who drink and too much you can't want really not you more how best you can put our heads together and save this country.
Certainly, General, I take him.
Thank you. God bless you.
God bless you too. Yeah, Brigadier General Nunu Mensah, former Chief of Defense Staff in the Ghanaian Army, and Yaneno Akwenkomo. Now we are able to allocate 20 minutes each to the gentlemen. Gilbert Omane of the New Patriotic Party, MPP, Abdul Razak Chachas, right, of the National Democratic Congress, NDC, and then Ebo Bachman of the Movement for Change. Right. So, of the two topics, let me say it again. Yes, I can be topics are they atward the ama and pennyfui. First one, also can we draw parallels from the American elections here in Ghana? And a second one, also would the impasse between MPs in the Ghanaian Parliament impact negatively on any candidate, any of the 13 candidates on the Ghanaian ballot for the upcoming general elections? So, Abdul Rahman, your time, Abdul Razak, your 10 minutes starts now.
Rakabra manfa kwanya na menchiawo. Na menchiawo tie for asambro magibro mutio. Meche ndisi for enyinara na machia na mawishe John Dramani Mama His Excellency. Trinkwa na mawishe no se nyankopon ma na honde. O ma ne nyansa bebre na o ma no kukuduro because nyame pa 29 days from now he will be sworn he will be the president of the Republic of Ghana. Na nyame epa on the 7th of January. Pepe na say yes swearing in as the incoming president of the Republic of Ghana. Rakabre, your first topic, things that Yabefa, Donald Trump or US, say a bit more draw parallels with what has happened there. I'm sorry, US, state, it seems Ghana there. Yani edio machipa, and a team biano, more elections, no money, ama be brino, and here the anyway. If you are digging deep in history, Kakra, Donald Trump has set a record, but I'm saying he's the second one to set that record in the whole world or in the globe. This record, you know, I'm saying, Grover Cleveland. I'm saying he's the 22nd president of the United States of America from 1885 to 1889. No, no, president. Into Omoko 1890 elections, you know, and yeah, the Olusu year. Do Olusu year no kotena fie. And was signed by 1893, and Obama Obey and Obey the 24th president of the Republic of Ghana. To Donald Trump and I then a record and why the one neutralizing. And I also I the Grover Cleveland AAB in 1980s. Fast forward in this Republic of Ghana, a been see that. A been see Hanum. But Donald Trump, I said, your opposition. Was incumbent our Kunyaso Biden want me also uncontested because of an Nguasia Donald Trump the Guno and a 10 chance and a vice president and me contested Kamala Harris and me contested Osha percentages now Donald Trump 50.7% and the vice president of the ruling we know 47.7% of we know. Do share electoral votes, you know, so Donald Trump 295 and Harris 226 votes. And do the entire area parallels, and they say the vice president and they contested the former president. And do share the ABC or Ghana Hana, the vice president or the vice president of the MPP is contesting the former president of the NDC. Do ya a pepe a way near Konawahu, inshallah. Nyame pa. CDC or the same Americano, sa pepe, and the besi wo kruma pepe. Dear, omo behwa so ometo aba I'm say CDD fire or the same research. Musa Dankwa info analytics or my research. Almost say dear na Ghana for be gina so e de ato aba. The first thing Ghana for ka or the economy. I don't know Ghana for be gina so the iden ato aba. The second thing, infrastructure, and the third thing, education. Sani ema we na osha reports abani na yazi bisa Ghana for say, dear nebe yo ma yo meto aba no mse campaign messages and then promises. Na do Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia ni MPP. Ansa na Ghana for beto aba mo no. Omo share Ghana for bo. Omo share Ghana for bo no. Omo kansem bi kire Ghana for. I don't know Ghana for gina so omo to aba mo 2016. So omo be yede. Omumbe edi Ghana enim na omunhwe si de Ghana nkoso bi siaye na do Dankwa Akufo-Addo wose ohia oni Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia omso omuhia just 18 months omso omuhia 18 months pe Ghana for mo 18 months omeso of Ghana problem ni na I don't know omo share Ghana for bo se America say Ghana for mo 7 years 11 months and 2 days 7 years 11 months and 2 days and a Ghana for the actual musa nti asama Ghana for baby so omo say mo terminal report the dia no motima achieve His Excellency John Dramani Mama ofri akonya so dia no jama mo anti Ghana for bufu yo mo to abatia no am so because akwala eco school na say or say ye try exams or the terminal report about terminal report no and ebe me ya promote na amana konanim His Excellency John Dramani Mama ofri akonya so dia ni dia no jama ye den na Nadu Dankwa Akufo-Addo jai me ogidie se ye be hyase a boa free niema John Dramani Mahama betoye na niema o solve ye a Ghana for say there be John Mahama kotran chen na emfa na Nadu Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. The first thing exchange rate. The first thing. Not John Dramani Mahama efiri akunya so no. The exchange rate no na 4 Ghana cedi to $1. And that ye kasei under the competent leadership John Dramani Mahama dey no communication officer no one year economist grada. But Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia so why economist, why adwuma of the Bank of Ghana. Into omu here 18 months. Now Ghana cedi na ye 4 cedi to $1 no. No ma side that twa ba chiri. Because me kai asema mo kam si cedi na ye hata. Omo say hata na 4 Ghana cedi and that make us 17 Ghana cedis wey na Ghana for be gina so say John Mahama de na 4 Ghana cedi na mo say enye 17 Ghana cedi ena ya na o mesa bisa Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia biem say na to e petrol 1 gallon ni na 14 Ghana cedis and that make us petrol 1 gallon aduru 76 Ghana cedis 14 Ghana cedi to 76 Ghana cedis wey na Ghana for be so mo say adentina ye tie kroma na John Mahama ye say mo sia ne say oye incompetent no na to petrol ni na 1 gallon no 14 Ghana cedi there top petrol 1 gallon 76 Ghana cedi Ghana for be so almost asem no come 7 December Ombasa bisa biem say yes the time bomb Ghana Statistical Service omo ye 2020 census no na unemployment rate wo krum ha John Mahama time na 8.4% 8.4% no and omo say enye Ghana for be nya adwuma nye and about Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia so omo say omo create adwuma sama bi ma free Togo Cote d'Ivoire Niger Benin adwuma be buso ama Ghana for ba be ye adwuma ama adwuma buso omo so omo di e-levy ba na e-levy they be create 11 million jobs into omo fa kwanya no omo be create employment and that make say unemployment rate at Ghana for single digit 8.4% echo or the 14.7%. We share the difference say these people omo terminal report and a Ghana for be so atwaba come 7 December Ghana for no be say bisa almost say na Ghana kani na John Dramani Mahama omo 120 billion. Oje John Dramani Mahama kai ene no ne atamos term ni no jama 120 billion. And that ye say Ghana kadri 667 billion. Oti frima 467 billion. And ankofo ya boka John Mahama nika ojaye no edu bi ene ode ye terminal 3. Enu bi ene ode ye circle. Enu bi $1 billion investment or the Atuabo gas. Anubi and the University of Ghana Medical Center. Anubi and the Ridge Hospital. Anubi and the KJT market. Anubi and the America and the something regional. Doomsa wohon in America ko solve ni na Anubia. Ye be bisa na Nadu Dankwa Akufo-Addo say from 120 billion to 776 billion na kana ye jama amono. E dia na mo de ye o mbeka cho say $12 million Polugu dam o ma discano. $12 million PDS omadi $2 billion Ajapade omadi $2 million Skytrain omadi $2 million what is Skytrain omadi scanning na o man fan kwanko ehwe we na Ghana for be so it say obi catch us how incompetent Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia asitramu aye ding and that make us Ghana ni otimi did 3 times a day because there will be did 3 times a day sebi now you come for. And that you two yamuade edu 8 Ghana cedi John Mahama time. Na yamuade you turn 1 girl to 2 afia utimi to yamuade petiso. And that make say kosia ye we kosia John Mahama time na yi miensa 1 cedi. And that make say kosia baako 4 Ghana cedi awon kra. And so you say water is life. Na so such a pack ni nyina no na 1 cedi 50 pesos. And that make say you so baako 1 Ghana cedi. Aban we na ya aban ono nko atimi demonstration tia na aban say na aban nye aban we na timi demonstration ti ono na ban say the policies nya make den omo say betting tax say youth now work omo horse no ma we na omo bet aban say wate omo 10%. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia say ono oba mo ntwan na mo ntua betting tax na me ba betwam den na Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia ye sesia e-levy omo ose enye eba ono omo ye to aba ma na no ba betwam na say aduane si fom ba mi bi ndi a wo so swame wi a na ansa na ma de ma yi bia mo wadi we na chese Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. He's a licensed liar. He's someone we can't trust him. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, he's a political scammer. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, or a confident trickster. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, or a 419 vice president. John Dramani Mahama is a man we can trust. Oka or yeah, he's a problem solver. Because time of doom so it's in 1980s. Or no one a president over doom so see Jerry Rollins time. So doom says you go 4 times. So doom says he Melson. But no one a president or say some problem may solve.
And Abdul Razak, Charters of the National Democratic Congress, NDC, and in the first 10 minutes, where is us to the Ashe whether we can draw parallels from the American elections. Gilbert Omani is to be given 3 minutes. Say Bibi and Abdul Razak Ekaye and Anthony de now free say Uncle Yea or the 3 minutes no ebe at the free or now or the 3 minutes no at the free or no more. Now you know Razak anya a further 2 minutes. The beer a rebate beer or man de buy you know. Then Razak Esuswanya. Then you the 10 minutes at the Ama Gilbert or many of the New Patriotic Party. No, so I deal with the topic. And for now, there 3 minutes no and confirm out. Maybe I say rebate beer, but so rebate and then some more kind.
Over. Mami fanchi akesi ama wetie for. Ene mi nua yo studio he. Na minchia trouble executives nyina. Ene MPC Madam Gloria Usu. Ofa mo wa se mi nua abemu atise me. Tina studio ha use something like 419 on a vice president of this country. Sir, what you mean ha? Sabio, menu mienu ye tipen, and I say ebikura menya sen o kakra na say wo bese me kakra. Na a whole vice president. What na be one aka say wo ye 419. But over me anya me nwanwa. Esan say wo hwe NDC tete ya. Ye de atete o mo fiti ye papa esedun ketia so di besi ye papa fifi kwetemu then time ano mo ye oye propaganda secretary atemdidie ne ntro ne akotwe a omode aba besi na enyem nwanwa se menui ebetena ha. You are calling a man and legacy as a vice president. Eshe wo president o former president ye papa John Dramani Mahama bottom today. The legacy she the bottom is here. You sit here and call him 419. Huh? Look, going into these elections, we are going to judge them as vice president. Ubedi vice president a day and a wire. And now Ubabedi vice president a day and a wire. Na ya shed ya ubeye a diamo mino. Ofa. And Jimmy can't say. Abraham Uba, your papa Tamil suit 2008. I will say your Ghana for boss or Baba 1-time premium. Me can't say no 419. And I me can't say no your contompo. It is all your contompo dear. Why na ye chief contompo and a chief liar? Ewa. One of the contompo share politics as you chroma. Ofa me yanko. Ye memua. Ye mrantie. See ye nya konya na see ye politics. Na see ye chire ya dream. Ewo national radio so say ya me feel say nka was ye ma ye kasa hote ye generation no a ye sha say no ebi wo form omo ba omo be hwe yen na I don't know minim ade aba NDC mabunu mu say omo nya kwanya ye ndidi mpanifo atam ye nkasa ntia mpanifo na ye hu say ye na ye aduma ye na ye kasa ma party wo fa suban be ni minyi ni say wo fa wo sha usi so asaba mu ano sa suban na de tete o.
Okay.
Ofa emwa your political your politics aye no kroma.
You've had a 3 minutes.
Ofa if me say me kon say nya me nue call no. Calling names are. Me ni say sama me ka wan na de. Because ofa ya ka jida o.
Ubenya 10 minutes.
Ofa ya ka yo. Ya ka bad branding no.
Unya 10 minutes na.
It is say ya ka so be 419 power kroma. Hwan ya.
Now 2 minutes ah. Say beer a counter rebate beer in 2 minutes.
Over.
Abdul Razak.
Wadaurma wahu. Minui, our kasa me rahopa. So ye babuna or kasande. Oh, say, Asama or Kenina say, I didn't think ye kase. Dr. Mahmoud Bamiya for one. And your Dr. Mahmoud Bamiya katre say, while rested dollar no, the Safona my IGP. The dollar never forget, and you're 419, and you're 419.
2 minutes,
It's a 419 vice president or your licensed liar, Okra license F. I did it wrong. And you're not catching chief imam Shaributu, say, obesi model or the schools, among the whole zone goes, but what the NSC. And you're not catching say, taxes are hurting, they are hurting, or can none is president, and now the taxes are we also betting tax, and that is, and yet the diatem, and now Dr. Mahmoud Bami diatema. COVID is no more a pandemic. I didn't turn the chat or the airway. Or catch us out, who turn your penny dear come and then cook for 70 years plus. I had demonstration with Kruma. I'm on there, Sinipa, enter who, my phone, Musika, the qua, Musiam Bobusia, Kruma, Dr. Mamudoka. I own Musimu here just 18 months. And a Ghana for Atwa Batia John Dramani Mama, 1 million votes and almost to Abamamo, and now that's what he blame Dr. or the John Dramani Mama. Yes, yeah, Fiachi, and Yabufuno. Do as much as a Ghana for Tuaba because of the John Dramani Mama Kaya Ghana for Sidabi. Yanu Yadin to Cotrafie, Nipo 1 million to Abatia your mama. And a move bosse, say no sitting president of Waluzu. And then your mama Cotrafie and those are so tia. I can say your mama, yes, say, not your mama, yes, say, no, besides John Dramani Mama. As a vice president, you know, John Dramani Mama, the only vice president in the history of this country, on GDP, 14% GDP growth, no, or a communicate. As a vice president, as the head of the economic management team, 14% GDP growth, vice president, be years, or no one economics there. On this side, textbooks economic,
okay. 2 minutes or so. Now he will have his main 10 minutes on the first topic as to whether we could drop ours from the American elections. In the 10 minutes, no, we are. And so now we are 3 minutes or about to be a further 2 minutes to also recount on what you said. Now, 10 minutes. Can we drop ours from the American elections here in Ghana?
Wafa, Mamincha with you for you. Now, out of my 10 minutes, me just 2 minutes. And for clear,
that 2 minutes, no back or something will be more. Now, what they are clear.
Wafa. Okay, so let me go straight to the topic. Ofa adia bakwa a dance and I say would ye timid to ye die who ye say a certain vice president a former president a contestant. But Ofa, it is also clear say election biane the dynamics any strategies are there then Yadukum. And unti wa strategies be work no you win. Election biane how nso a obe prepare won ade akom. Na ye wie ne yehwe ne sa wofa ne yehwe America no as a country no. Senia omo esi fa ekekere omo man ana omo ye omo niema as Americans. Na yehwe as young Ghanaians. Ne yehwe se aso so bi and I say the outcome of omo elections no any year die eye pe and I so say so bi wo yenso ye die so ana wofa America your man metimi aka say at this point we share ekwan a ye papa Donald Trump and nam so adibi weni elections yi ene nanum kasa we share some of the comments we make against foreigners who kronum ene kwan of faso a opese odi ekebe those things down na we share America for one kasa omo America and pen bebre no typical whites in America no Ofa, Miss Roman can Ayana omo racist kakra. And it obia obebabe sing this kind of songs no yana omoneje ho. Ofa, you also agree with me say aban bia wote so no say ochewa aban mu kakra. Definitely o policies be wana monto bi nipa bi mu wo hono ma enyo omo de. So definitely no you have those petty challenges. And unti so share nyuma na ya papa Donald Trump eto anu kwan ya ofa so e de be win in elections here washa sa kwan na menuanom no enam so But in the case of Ghana, no, Ghana your maya ye pa ho. What must say? Ghana your maya. Oho wo timi any timamuni. Ana Ghana ni ankasa enya issue. Na timamuni no embum ehun koka adwam na oho no de okọ. Enti Minianum NDC for anytime I get close to them, me catch them say, Sir, enyum na Trump eto no. Mo so ya mo pese mo to bi no. Mo because Ghana ye case different. Ekwan yo mo fa so mo to sa anyum ni bi ni. They know say ye papa John Dramani Mahama ne ye papa Mahmoud Bawumia. Omo nyina ye Ghana for mapa. In fact, say ye sha Omunyina free up in the north. And until sir, tribal, politics, will not play that much. But almost share honum na emfano, and omni kofa na yereso. Yan tinasi mafula ni nimbambe dia so da. Sanyum ya no moto no mdeko. Na obia oye Ghana ni mapa. Yan culture no eti ni mu a ewura ni mu no. Ofa, so koto sanyum we de kire na. Enya den emfa. Iti na case here no, wofa, ye kono. Na Ghana for ba be hwe Umodimbo as a vice president. Any Umodimbo as a president and a vice president. Ni ahwe hu na di ato aba e di ama hu. Unyani kasa no, he mentioned education. Na ma ferry ama no. Ogbo education di na me ferry poto. Say utimi nya kugudro. And link education to your papa John Dramani Mahama. Wofa, maybe go school me mame. Letitia. Oton nintuma. Adwa Letitia ton nintuma. Wofa, ovina no do to bread. Adwa Letitia koton just to pay admission fee. Wofa, na se nesa anyama we. O mampeni abedi echire etimi abo. Your friends aboso. Edi echira boa masade yi yetimi ye efiri ho na nde oni biefo ne amobrofo wofa Thomas amuanimu etimi enne aba benye opportunity na se ne omoasua de a wo se den wofa Ghana fo na ti ho no enye Ghana fo asebe yadi nkontompo ne ndada ye den ebiri wo mani so Yamfan kontompo ene ndada from Ghana for debe. Sure, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and I mentioned earlier, said the legacy as a vice president is in the pocket of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Obekai, Ghana card. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia nya ndi so ade hu say Ghana card no, I see a page mu di kosim pempen so say, almost say anya de papa. Ye papa say do nketia ka say NDC for mo nkoye. Echire ono ne first person okojina wo koye ne de. Today, they've seen the importance of Ghana card. Now who lead it? One the lead here. When this was doing no. The legacy. You sit here and say such person. A 419. Utraha a biwano. A cassette, Sani pay a 419. Wafa. Yanti Croman will be the condom tax. Ah? Say, amana mansu nyinara. Yebo HIV who de wo. Say ye be ma HIV na da aba form. Anase mpo say ye be ye free. Yen system no mu kra no. Wo the tax be to condom so. Wo for ekuafo. Ade a ekuafo de ko ekuafo tools a no mo so omo fa so dididi. Eya se kan wo the tax e ba be to so. Na de atwa yen so no krampo ni epebre a utimi hwe Ghana fo anim. Utimi hwe Ghana fo anim se pebre. What's the sika de akwa kodua nua opebre. Sa ni pa nya 419. Enu ti wo fa. Yen election na ye kono. The only thing na eye sabi eni ye de no eye bo let me say eye pe kakra. Eni say a certain vice president and a former president a contest. But say Ghana for share performances. And I say performance of each candidate there. Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia stands tall. Because, papa, John Dramani Mahama, the modern boy as a president and a vice president, still rings in the ears of Ghanaians. Over X years, okay. In kontompo asankrofo we, in kontompo ne nada. Papa John Dramani Mahama, LED ye, ebe da Ghana for, ebe sine, one trap block ba kumpo and see a police for. Today, Papa John, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, police headquarters, Tesanoha, Kona Kohe. A police phone ya baby dam and ne. Is canina so toa. Ya din chance is woman bobit guyasum. In chance, who police need them. In chance, yes, he won. A bobit. Echen apietus. A bobit. Echen hammer. And ne. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia da Roma. Kohona Kohe. Echen estate, yes, is in war. Oyare Fane Nasifo. You sit here and call this man 419. Yada wasi. Ghana mebunu so 8 yew. Ghana mebunu me se men kantre so omo kai. Dia papa na udi nechi no obeye. Nkontompo ne ndada omo de ba abamu 2008. Ema ne nam so 2012. 2016 eba 2012 ebe win election ebe to a ye papa Atamels emreso. Ghana mebunu kai. Wofa uni hana ye papa John Dramani Mahama e ka kire yen se obesi Hope City e wo kromo a Hope City no e be ma mbebunu aduma age se ye kran mbebunu de baba be ebe ye aduma.
Okay, 10 minutes na so
na wofa Hope City no e wan fa
enti no na ye ma Abdul Razak 3 minutes. That's a rebate to be all the aba. Now yama e further 2 minutes said the obeka na ho bibi na apasa. Thereafter ni akọ the second topic na obi abenya 10 minutes. Right, until Abdurazak who have 3 minutes. And somehow can rebut be all.
Over, or say, young compare John Mahama as a vice president, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia as vice president. You better compare. John Dramani Mahama, single digit inflation for me challenge, some form of indicators in bra. Single digit inflation for 36 months. No a communicator, no read economics that. John Dramani Mahama, and I make a GDP growth 14%. BC Kromada. 2012, John Dramani Mahama. Near rate your economy will B plus as at 2012. John Dramani Mahama. John Dramani Mahama the 2 oil force by Kroma. John Dramani Mahama. John Dramani Mahama. Or saying, am I access to the Eurobond? No, be a person of Ghana Bosia. Ghana was so attractive. John Dramani Mahama as a vice president. Near Timinya Cocoa. 1 million tons of Kroma. John Dramani Mahama. I challenge him to be their records. Once all Kasana, me mambo education. But hey. Uka bibia no mu dimirika na free SHS metra ai manka free SHS wo se wo jump go hwe nkofo we won aya na eye mesere aya na em won se aya na mu edidi Ghana for atem obuka se Ghana for se ye wo huru yanim ekosoro free SHS omo kasa free SHS ka ya bon ho kanina from 2017 to date ya boka 5 billion Ghana cedis 5 billion nkofo e ba ye na 120 billion Ghana ka oma kukuru Ghana ka ko 767 billion me pacho 5 billion every 466 billion no abeka 461 billion 461 billion mo de 5 billion ye free SHS dia aka mo de ye den eno na Ghana fo ebisa mo enda mo si free SHS ni e free oso maame eton ni ovi eno de uko school John Dramani Mahama time free education mo si ye free no ende akwala uko school prospectus niema obeto so no ekwa about 50 million and 60 million because and there sa akwala ba be school trunk ekwa 250 billion akwala ba be school mattress obeto obekwa akoda foam ya student foam yi one to kwa beto 400 500 Ghana cedi akwala be school books obeto ekwa about 2000 3000 akwala ba be provisions and there mo studio this way do hear ni so share John Dramani Mahama time not this way 1 cedi and then this way 4 Ghana cedis and that you Gare Olonka John Mahama time now 5 Ghana cedi the Gare Olonka do 20 Ghana 25 Ghana cedi Milo 10 John Dramani Mahama time near 10 Ghana cedi the Milo 10 do 50 Ghana cedis and otia asichire konko bako na John Mahama tam na 2 Ghana cedi nda asichire konko bako do 12 Ghana cedi you sit here and then you say Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia ye to abama no ade ahuri ani wokosoro etu ameka so oye political scammer oye confident trickster udi agrobe dada osisia okacho ose gina ha obehe okacho oche good morning hwewiem hwe ebia na good evening etu you lambast 82% of Ghanaians say you are heading this country into a wrong direction and then 20% of Ghanaians ain't me afford 5 Ghana cedis. And now you still blame John Dramani Mama for your incompetence.
3 minutes as well. And Tiama Gilbert a further 2 minutes. Maybe I read be now. Or Sabre Mama Fukoy or say what please. This Razak guy can lie. The GDP under Mahama was 3.6, not 14.3. The 14.3
2011
was it the 14
as a vice president.
Was it the 14.3 was achieved under President Atta Mills?
We are talking about his name as a vice president.
Okay, 2 minutes, no Gilbert.
You are talking about him as a vice president.
Mimio Manumpo na start exposing. But Ofa, you remember this man that contested him during their presidential primaries? The former finance minister,
Dr. Kwabena.
Dr. Kwabena. Ofa, in the studios of Asempa, Papa no, I can't send me. Na me pese me kai me no be ana wante. O se mra no mani abire o mo chichire o man no. Ah? Or no as finance minister. No mo dwene economy no. Na mama nim ho mache. Mahama good morning. Mpo we economy no na wonim. Mpo kwan ya mo fa so no mo raise sika. Ha? E dey bo man ho bra. Kwan ya mo fa so mo raise sika. E dey financing most of the state projects at the time no. Na good morning mpo Mahama nim wo ho. Enya me na me kan. Fa phone no na hwe. Enti se obeba betina ha. Now you attribute everything to John Dramani Mahama. And then Ubo ya papa John Fifi Atamels Dinya Waira Wendisim Wame Bobra Adibiara ya Fansha Mahama. Who would he has won say Papa ni term as a vice president. Wa nyehwe. Emom enim guasia no de bro man. So man ya suma for 1 cedi, you 1 cedi na kokoto ade bra. O baya na de na kwakoda ne bo achidi. Ama wo president ST committee wo ho. Anya wani wu. Over. Utina anya wo mfere. Sani pa we nya 419. Sani pa we onya trickster.
Okay.
Enti mentias yo wofa eni Zimbabwe no enti sabe wofa me pese me busa me nueze munni ani wo kra
2 minutes na so ti enko ugusu tie nit 100.9
anase asema ya ka to mutrim se Ghana for short memory no e da so mutrim
ugusu tie nit FM
minia ye ni short memories
100.9 FM enti the second topic no or say will the impasse between MPs in the Ghanaian parliament impact negatively on any candidate on the ballot paper, on the ballot, and Gilbert Eddie Dikai. You have 10 minutes. Now, yet here, Gilbert Eddie Ebeba. And to say, will the impasse between MPs in the Ghanaian parliament impact negatively on any candidate on the ballot? Right, me and you 10 minutes.
Offer. Because your elections are different. If I met me a catcher say, Obeko baby no. Na nyama ekoso parliament kra no, omuni hu mache. Omunim de ekoso. Enu ti yan ha no de say oneme ebe ya adwene a. It's almost like kwan ya obefa so ne umanfo atena yie no. Enu hu na omubehwe na omode ato abama. And for me, maybe I'm any say I'm no. And they say relate with your people well. Offer MPs no. Because baby your elections equal. Any baby about baby a free ni baby about do say no. If I can tell you, say, dynamics, no, sir. And just at first, I know, Bitimika say, Osha Akoko party A at a crowd, the baby Jina Haya, better man. Sanya Maninano, a free system. Indeed, sir, one related with your people well. Not small, almost small parliament, no. When ni omo enya dadan kita hudie, ama omo anti wudu medie na se yie pa dia. Ofa. Wutima mu for na nazo constituency for no ebe ma ho akere. So for me where I sit, that is how I see it. I see it. Wofa. So ubesha, there are a lot of seats 2016 elections. Maybe to say Amasamai. Ubesha Amasamai a typical NDC, zone. But you're a free far. It's me then a beji sa seat. And not sure say the incumbent then any Crawford relation. Nah, it wasn't the best. And say Amasamai any trouble a boom. Nti enema na ekoso den no na yetibi yehu bi nso nti ye ne ha no anase going into this elections no when it comes to this your MPs now how well you relate to your people and no mbehwe no matter about the amount ye nyotwe me nyotwe ni adoa wo MPP ni na so constituency bi nasa wo no nkrofo no timamufo ntiye ono mu ni nkomo ye o momo nti o woduma diase a ofa don't think say omo kwa koto aba but what is going on in parliament no metimi aka so obi wo kra onti ase and that is the truth oko constituency bia I can tell you say almost about 60% or 70% of the people there don't even understand what is going on now. So it's just about you going to them. Ubema unaye ntiatia womuso. Na unkita hudie no ayeden. Aye show between you and your constituents. So that is how I see it.
Okay. Right. We still owe you 8 minutes. Now, second topic,
Over. Mekoso ba ma metin sem bitel o mesro go back meko every time of mesro wada ro every time mewura ho of me so once watiefo obi kura anya me wrong ma me correct something mesro over wait 1 minute over 1 minute mesro over na ye me compare Dr. Mahmoud Bami as a vice president to your mama as a vice president and I me say
you listen to me
over me too
So Obi, I don't know, when tier program ni ye, and na onim say performance of the two candidates, as they were vice president, at their channel. Obi so onim pa, and so na wakana from. In this instance, a beer or car, saboni when it's remua, kawamfa. Figure now, master sad time na yata mills. When in fact it confirms the point you were making. Say that John Mahama is vice president. John Mahama is one and vice president at Tamil.
The head of the economic management team.
It don't be drawn. In some on something else. On pass, I work in parliament. In your view, can it negatively affect any of the candidates on the ballot paper?
Over. Yamen no krenie. The question about affected Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia as the candidate or the flag bearer of the MPP, 100%. Because one with the course of parliament in Inano, say, who said the executive and MPP party, or annex, akwa the Supreme Court, MPP headquarters, so my extended Supreme Court. What was say over?
Jinasuka Kremi. Man can't someone you best me now.
Jabi.
Na ye Jinaka na your voice in
over.
You will not make that comment.
Over.
The Supreme Court as an institution, you will not make any derogatory comments about it. Why?
I'm not making. As I make an
me interpret such comments. because it is factually inaccurate. So I can say a headquarters of the why it do the political no man the kikako baby.
What was that?
Institutions like the Supreme Court, institutions like Parliament, institutions like the executive branch. No, now the wash institution here. Personalities as oh can wash a personality. Me and you.
Of Ampacho, what was that? Say be uche kromphobia now boom. Oh, boom! Say Famiko police station. Kromfo ya chino. Aye boy ebeja. Was it there be Famiko police station? Wo be hwe nani nua wo ho.
O say si abuno ebeja no.
Ye o say timi che kromfo ni abuna na ebia obunu kra bi obi o mbabu a o ye mera na o maja o.
Na mte so
na kromfo na nkasa mu.
Is it the norm? See a chire kromfo a yemmo no a o ye mera na eja.
Da bi nka the norm ne say wo china. Kaso Famiko police station. But when the kromfo na nkasa mu say Famiko police station. Na je say ni nua wo ho.
Me ntie we.
And then be a basic chrome have beer and be before say let's go to court. Be a basic chrome have you for court. And the MP before anything or say the court. Abra your 3 arms of government. The 3 arms of government will be when it to me or the juma. But anything that happens, I will be me interfere in the other. I'm talking about the legislature and the judiciary. And that you chrome high. As I may see the Supreme Court to say the entire amount person you be declare this for constituency meka Suhum meka Aguna West meka Amenfi Central and Andreasia Maho Fomena the entire amount say answer say Abamba be declare ho or the vacant seat, you know, because the people I know more no omunya representation in Parliament. And therefore, no Supreme Court say there be say omunya representation. But in that yeti hey, yanya baby to say Sango Trophy, Lipe Lolopi, I kabo me fan so. I'm a 4 solid years omunya representation na Supreme Court. Omunya representation for 4 years. I know omuboni omadu. Omunya administrative Electoral Commission more representation in Parliament for 4 years. Na ne say for constituencies o mo MP sa mu say ye de ye ko independent ye yi mu ama na Supreme Court so de bi mu de me ko ama mo ba Central Fee Apolu Lipefor de o ma nya obi ama yanka o ma sama mo mo akwafo o mo de o ma nya obi yanka o ma sama mo adenti na eno de ehia Supreme Court o mo de o mo nya Ghana for ana o mo de o mo free voter region nti ana omunya representation enye and then your constitution article 122 I catch you say in case say even if a member of parliament free na 3 months to our general elections are yentwaba not as a constitution and the 2 constitution could permit say in case say or member of parliament free for 3 months are and so say twaba I deny for representation constitution could permit now then tina just 1 month apart. This 4 constituencies were 1 month to against the constitution's 3 months. 1 month apart with Supreme Court there be also uncover representation and say this should tell you say this there is certain things are of course with Supreme Court where mommy believe we say I quite to say the entire the MP before the Supreme Court one no one nim the omodi asha honti enya because one of the panel members our tenor case in this 7 aye NS your go 2016 no a parliamentary candidate for the MPP. Awo jina mu a support to MPP. Na nadu danko Akufo-Addo say omuntu abama no member of parliament. It is a sign way say the case ko nanima. Ade na bema wadi asem hwe ye de asem no ko anopa be 9 anopa be 10 to 12 way. Mirika kiki na Supreme Court. 2 o'clock na Supreme Court the judgment aba. Yati krom ha ama your first topic ya ni edi hu asem yi. Tumu a man in member you hey your filing case with 6 March your passing law I also said now do danko Akufo-Addo the MPP sign not just say your bread tumu a man in mada memada a man for this can say you to know your passing law with 6 March your Supreme Court I'm for so man now do danko Akufo-Addo sign na me ya mra say we be chu ye tumu no na now do so on sign MPP for ayi womani say amafo nko so mrani de nyade o signing there and o sign it na Supreme Court ayedi ye the case we court court besin na make say Supreme Court ntimi enka ho asem adentre Supreme Court na yet say some people before case ba omunye ntentem na o matena so na o madi asem no wo de hwe sa trumu case we see the Ghana for your culture ya mamrete a ye chiri ya nananom mpe and sorry chiri a na anu ye October yi and sorry ni na ye demonstration mi hu me nananom imam for mi hu asofofo mi hu traditional leaders mi hu me maame mi hu papa nom a ye ni na ye se ye mpesa trumu no ba MPP aban leader headed by Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia na Nadu Dankwa Akufo-Addo omun fa omun sanse mrase ne yen twasa adi wen free Ghana mo se da bi we ne be ma Ghana fo betu obati omo we na niam bi a Supreme Court no ane MPP aban yenti a Ghana fo fu sese omun nyaaya enka election no enye o kyenanko metu obati MPP aban wo this election ya yekoi ena mo niam o ma yenti I'm telling you there's nothing omo pa he Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia own develop a miracle app. Aya won wasem app and save this election because Ghanaians have declared a state of emergency. Almost because omoni and omonia mo bia omon tibi bia se omosi Supreme Court. Omon tibi bia se Supreme Court and that make say your mama did the 24-hour economy buy. Almost omon tiase. This is the Supreme Court. Na Supreme Court ay interpretation amomo. The mama can obey review. Almost say a cancellation. Omon tiase review no this omon Supreme Court. Na Chief Justice Atanaso. Now why there? What church omo review na say. Doom so back kroma almost there be enya doom so doom CC. Say this is Supreme Court. Echirechire mu answer omati say Article 97 1G. I say if a member of Parliament ya na adwen say no o free party no anasa o contest as an independent candidate and now free party or akọ party foforo no or the vacating the seat no go for so omo ntiase this is Supreme Court chirechire adentro omo tiambacho dey school no omo ko ya Ghana for yanko bi omo English brofo ben and omo ko sua ye dey so syllables ben ye dey kire omo de omo ko de omo understanding different from Ghana for understanding and until am ye tikrom ha Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia ka kire say ahokire ne apanidi a yewo mu no se si a solve problem na kire obedi president na onye de onhu onye adwuma bi anye nti ye ho nkire ye kopim say ono ba be di president anu ntira ye tikrom ha na galam say yensuo ni na say ama SDA force nde so udi bone na opese o sachira ni ye dware o na ye de oba Kristo sumu na ye gye wonkwa ema Nyankopon a ne ye nya nsuo mpo na ye de abo wasu ama esim say what ba be sachira aba be nyami nipa nti nde so udi bone na opa adwen sachira and all the be koburu nsam je because na Nadu Dankwa Akufo-Addo ane Bawumia ensuo wo kroma ni na o ma ye kokotin nti nde adwen sachira kwa ni kroma ahokire ni apanedi ekomu ende omunya hu so o ma ye boni bia because nde ye tikroma ama the former Chief Justice etimi ye demonstration ti aban wi and then okroma ama ndan kokkrafo a omudi omusika abo aban wi ebusia aye demonstration okroma ama munipa ente awu kwa ama ye odisen omusika akawe hu and then tikroma ama 1.8 million Ghanaians etimi ye de enya adwuma okroma and then tikroma ama the Ghana youth dwane free kroma because kronu mu aye she min kai Ghana for ya 22nd October 2022 abrante bia ho kira paniedi a okomunti okoforo high tension po workers we kuno o se na Nadu Dankwa Akufo-Addo ne Bawumia mambo anu adin anu aya it was so dwane free kroma Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia minua no okasa oye bebe okasa John Dramani mama corruption cases and say na se Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia omusi so person huna unya $20,000 chansa du boy ne kanyam na meka Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia on ma PDS $2 billion omudi yesika okroma ajo mama se oba obi odis kan bi obafiaba Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia businessman bi kwa kra mo bae so oba beton for salad donation lele rice container ma Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia ene ne na administrator keko say no mo sam mo ko wale ko chiche mo no Dr. Mahmoud ye ka obi akatase hye project kanka dwarena on over aya na me pese wo correct omo o se Atamos SRT committee bi mo or say John Dramani mama otimi bo committee member ba ko pe ana committee ni dia me sore fia me nyede de afa o say Ghana card Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia na de bae me pacho Ghana Act 208 Act 750 Act require 208 atam na Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia no vice president adena mo tra radio so ditrosa ha ditrosa John mama so sa
right
ama nebe sin dem do so ditrosa
minutes na so Gilbert, who are any rebata?
Over Mukakra.
Who are any rebata 5 minutes?
Over Enti me pese me sre me nuanu busa ne se Ghana card no ahimbia on na ye ya na.
Me yano. I will be some question.
Kwanya betina radio so. Na young man. Nkontompo ni ndada na hye wafunu mu ma. Won se wa okasa wie ye won fifre to. Fifre betu se ya. Betu se ya. Wofa. Hwe de bia me kan se yenye opportunity betina radio so a. Enye nkontompo. Enye didi atem. Enye name calling. Ofa kasem no se ne sitie na kanokore. Ofa court ben ene jai yewra to forcing. That time ne de na ye. Na ye. Se anko amawa. Ehonum ne de na name calling. Na mo mpanifo to say Supreme Court judges na asukonoma obetina ha dio matem call your names because omo the verdict biaba anko yama wofa ekrum ha your constitution edi adwuma ha se wonti bibiase wo ewumu a ehemfa na okọ you know the same Supreme Court.
If it's about interpretation.
Exactly. And if I need any interpretation of Amamra Yadiya Duma Okroma, what is wrong with going to the Supreme Court? Then today, you think that somebody is going to the Supreme Court, so that warrants you, a young man, to insult the Supreme Court. You see, Ghana vote you. Anyhow, I'm into this election. And I'm going to penina within the chain and gas at them, the dear or the name the campaign. Atem didie na no de chance ultimi general parliament ka MPs ayen ya small mo as ya na musini say mun konkon ye djuma fama ye no general parliament you so words like baloney. So I'm not surprised that a young man like you come and sit here and insult anyhow. Enyam nwa wofa enyam nwa and medical culture say we no mo tete no free baby yura fifi kote say ya afi wie chiro kwotena vetting ye busa ne say won sama wo kan ye no ubetimi edi ho adanse trodo say nsama wo kan ye no kre o si da bi anya no kre eti ye ni mu petumi a say ya say ndc fo petumi a o me ye Ghana fo si obi a but so mu benya tumi ni wi a ho na obehu say yetimi dua epebre ho na obehu say yetimi kokofa dakato e di be Ghana for ambulance se omu nya tumi ni wi a ho na obehu say yetimi ya pictures go yi picture chenchirenche e di bobas ho me chere bas branded wo fa omu nya tumi ni wi a ho na wu achia omu yi nukrom ha enu ti yani mo Ghana fo ehu mo ma ye bida na ye kai over mo se ma mo keka ne me see the only thing aya na omuka e ma me hu se e ye deliberate se ye ntum futuro engu Ghana fo ani e ye se ye ra John Dramani Mama e ka che Ghana fo se Ghana fo short memory enu na ma wo sa akwanya no ama ndo betina but maybe na refi hu ebi so na wonim na brother I am telling you say sa dream pono asesa Ghana for kai you read John Dramani John your friend say John Dramani Mama penso wofa enyo no be ka kire say wo sika twitwiri de on fa mo free SHS ho bra owi a wan twa no hu U10 enne o ma me ka kire say free SHS on eye ofa me say o sounds ni bi na me bo kire no na Ghana for gusu ye den e kai enti wo de kosu didi atem kosu twa ntro kosu ka de obeka bad ofa edru honu ma the ballot box will expose you cause the baby so ebeka no no wa say di ntwopoto
okay
entwa wudi no 2016 ebeso ofa me final comment I make an say emebu na wo Ghana ha ye ko into elections ye besre se ma obia enyusu endidi mpanifo atem ma obia enyusu enkoye basabasa in the name of politics anase sa apani no interest ebia party no kuna wo kun tokwama na enu nti wudidi mpanifo atem no party ni beba no na tumi mfra mampo ebia mfa ohwena no enu nti ye bra ye boni anamu ayetu no yenkai as ye mebunu ni ze akola bi ti baby a ohwew wanam nto obi bia na ye ne fe ebia na uni ye bia den eye ne fe na mmom wonu masem no nti na ebia na akola na ba be fa wanam nso no no nso aba be ye te se wo se minu ye otie ya enne Supreme Court judges na wasane adapa a odi o matami wo fa.
Okay, right, finally na Abdul Razak final comment
over. Now, Kasa Metra had the Supreme Court will be at him as who say, and we can criticize. We can criticize.
Supreme Court
judge. Interior Minister say Supreme Court see Musi Bu or Matenchen. Yes, Kanapa, Minister for Interior.
Sir,
I Murphy or say,
Yapon.
Oh, Mr. Over.
Kanapa no day.
Over.
No, a day.
Of another nice way,
and of the Kandapa no a day.
You say, which one contempo?
Defense Minister. Minister for Defense. Kandapa, Defense Minister.
When I catch you.
Oh, of another no, you say. Over Mr. Kandapa say. Oh, over.
Yapon, why you?
Over no man who say.
Why you be
Mr.
No one me
Kandapa Supreme Court for no.
Yapon.
Or more attention on your Emma suspect. Offense will be over to
Ambassador Emma Gilbert Omane of the New Patriotic Party, and then Abdul Razak Chachas of the National Democratic Congress, and then Nina Mono. Yebeko Fini, Yami Mususi Kofino. Olakoku Michael, Wane Abramoe, and DJ Foreigner. Omna Diabeko Fee, Nomad Yabeko Chocho. As that's from Kokoma, two great men. Abdul Razak Chachas of the NDC, and then Gilbert Omane of the MPP. And we thank you so much, two great men. But now, dear, Yenshana, Intime, and Kofi.